This channel is made possible by viewers like you. My viewers, subscribers, and patrons greatly help to keep this channel going. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of you. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any uploads. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you'll get access to what I'm working on, previews of upcoming content, and even early videos, along with other tier options for those that are interested. Thank you, and now on to the video. Any piece of entertainment needs that hook, that thing that grabs the viewer, reader, and player into their experience. It is the thing that is essentially the reason why we keep continuing on with this book, movie, show, comic, or video game. There is so much entertainment available to us and easily accessible. Many try to provide that hook, many fail in this aspect, while others to varying degrees succeed at some type of pull. But when one comes along and knows how to just latch on and not let go, in many cases, you know you might be in for something special. You can tell when something like this succeeds, when you take a step back and think, I want to dive deeper into this, or go back to that flow state where it's just you and that piece of entertainment. And for many of us, we can tell when a game has successfully done this, when we check the clock and we see we have some time before needing to go to bed, and then check again and see that 3 hours have passed, but it only felt like a few minutes. Epic Games and Remedy provided me with an early copy of Alan Wake 2, and this title very much achieved that hook very well. And today I want to explore the beginning chapter. There will be spoilers for the prologue and chapter 1. Let's get started.
In a horror story, there are only victims and monsters. And the trick is not to end up as either. But trapped by the genre, we are all ripped to pieces along the way.
I do want to provide a little background first. I absolutely love the first Alan Wake and American Nightmare. These are two of my favorite games, and Remedy is a studio that I love seeing what they come up with next. I generally enjoy their games, and even when they stumble a bit, there's still many engaging and special aspects to their titles. They have an impressive catalog, and while Alan Wake was originally designed with follow-ups in mind, it sadly didn't sell well enough despite how great it is. But with the sequel finally here, it's apparent that this studio very much cared about this project and grabbed at an opportunity to make the sequel when the time was potentially better for it. I also tried to step away from much of the marketing to Alan Wake 2. I knew the sequel was coming, that there would be another character you would play as, and that Alan was trying to escape. Outside of that, I was pretty much going in blind. Remedy has earned my trust over the years, so while I was hoping that they would just nail this sequel, I had some faith that this would turn out to do Alan Wake justice. At least I hope so, because at the time of writing this, I'm still playing through it myself. But as far as the initial chapter is concerned, this succeeds greatly. The gameplay is pretty simplistic, yet effective in how it is presented, along with the narrative that layers on a bunch of mysteries that you desire the answers for. Plus, which is a bit of a bold move on Remedy's part, we do not even get to play as Alan initially. This puts a lot of trust in the historical fans, who are coming to this from the prior games, because honestly, in some way, we want some of that original feel, upgraded and then done in a new way for the sequel. But Remedy sort of refuses to do that initially. The game asks us to be patient, maybe allowing it to build up to that. So that means Saga, the new protagonist, has a lot of weight starting out on her shoulders. Can she carry this opening as the driving force for the player? And what surprises does Remedy have in store for us? We do open with Alan Wake and then focus on a mysterious man coming out of Cauldron Lake. He is eventually hunted down by this crazy cult and killed. This is the start of the pull. We see our hero first and are reassured he is still in the game, but then it shifts to this mysterious individual, where we go on a mini journey with them, with plenty of twisted imagery as well. It also sets a much darker tone than the prior game. Then Chapter 1 begins with Saga and her partner Alex investigating a set of murders within Bright Falls. Immediately this has us asking questions. Where is Alan? And is this Alex Casey the same Alex Casey from Alan's novels? Or maybe someone else? The intro bit does a pretty good job to make us like Saga. While she is an FBI agent investigating murders and the supernatural, she is married with a husband and a child that she cares about. There's a phone conversation between her and her child, and you can kind of feel a bit of warmth from her character. You'll want to root for her. Plus, the chemistry between Saga and Alex is classic cop movie stuff. They have a history and it's presented well through all of their dialogue. While there isn't much combat in the first chapter, we do get the freedom to explore a few locations. Alan Wake 2 definitely has a heavy detective element that feels a bit like I'm playing a Telltale game, with that Remedy flair and presentation to it. This means that while the game is not open world, It does have levels that allow for you to go off the beaten path and find collectibles, and this brings more character to the world itself. You might even gain some insight into the town and the people there, or you find some items that can be used for upgrades or more supplies, and in some cases collectibles can provide clarification on aspects of the story. For example, one reveals that Saga's partner Alex Casey has the same name as the one in Alan's books, but at least as of right now, it's not the same character. Pacing-wise, there is this slow build to everything. The gameplay is more along the style of a point-and-click game. You go around a crime scene, gathering clues, and then you can piece stuff together within your mind place. As of right now, it doesn't seem like you can really have a personal impact on the narrative through choice or how an investigation goes, but rather you can interact and join in on the ride being provided to you. It's simple stuff, yet effective in drawing the player into the narrative, while still keeping it involved from a gameplay standpoint. Through investigating, we learn that the victim is Agent Nightingale from the first game. Before leaving the forest, you find a page which appears to be written by Alan Wake, but it also has visible edits on it. This adds on another layer of mystery. Has Alan already tried something like this to move players into this position? And it didn't work and is trying something new now. What attempt are we on for him to try to get out of this place? And this even brings back some of the gray areas from the first game. In that, did Alan create all of these people through his story? Or is it a mix of real people and his story? Or maybe it's all created by Thomas Zane or something else entirely. Following the woods, we return back to a familiar area with the town of Bright Falls. It looks familiar in many ways, but things have changed and seem twisted as well. You can roam around the streets and even go inside a few buildings. This got me asking, where are many of the other favorite characters from the first, like Sarah, Barry, and many others? We hear Pat Maine on the radio and meet Rose at the diner. This is a weird interaction because she appears to know Saga and mentions that Saga's daughter has drowned, yet her daughter is at home and has never met Rose before. We do meet Tim Breaker, who might be a brother to Sarah. He is the sheriff and takes us to the morgue to inspect the body. Through further investigation of the body, we find another manuscript page, and that actually ends up helping Saga. But at the same time, Tim says that he has more manuscript pages, and right as he's about to provide them to you, he shouts out at a mysterious being, and he disappears as we get a brief glimpse at someone else in a suit. Meanwhile, Nightingale wakes up, and he is looking for the clicker and starts all sorts of chaos. Through the use of the page, Saga uses light to hide from him, grabs her gun, and through the player she fires, and then Nightingale disappears. And then the chapter ends with a hard cut and into a song. I really love the execution of the first chapter. It leans heavily on its narrative and characters to carry the game. You don't even fire a gun until the very end, whereas in the first game you are shooting within the first 30 minutes. Through the initial dream sequence, mysteries are layered on and on throughout the initial chapter, to the point that it's making the player feel hungry to get to the bottom of everything. Something I really give Remedy credit for is that while many mysteries are introduced, they are done in a way that prevents the narrative from feeling overly convoluted or confusing. Things seem to be related in some way, but we don't know how yet. Plus, the ending of the chapter is really smart and leaves you with that feeling of what is even going on, but in a good way. On a personal note, I like how it ends similar to how episodes end with the original, by treating chapters like episodes of a show. I wasn't expecting the investigation type stuff, and honestly I really liked it a lot. It's like Alan Wake meets LA Noire in a way, and works as an effective storytelling device, and engages through its simplicity yet well-presented gameplay. I was feeling the game really sinking its claws into me more and more as I kept playing it, and all the while I wasn't even firing my gun yet, and I haven't even gotten to control Alan yet as well. Remedy is asking us to be patient for that moment, while showing us another potential interesting protagonist. At the same time, you can feel Alan's presence throughout the entire episode. He may not be there, but everything is either directly or indirectly related to him. Who knows if the rest of the game will keep this up, but as far as an opening, this is one of Remedy's best ones yet. Have you played Alan Wake 2? If so, what are your thoughts on the opening? Let me know all of this in the comments down below. If you're interested in being notified of new videos, please hit the subscribe button and bell. And if you would like to support the channel and get early access to content, please check out my Patreon. All of the links will be at the end of this video and within the description. And thank you very much for watching.